second deputation is from Sabine Mairey about the difficulties of living on an estate facing demolition. Can the deputation please come to the front of the dais? Sabine, you have 5 minutes to address the council, and once finished, please wait for a response.
It has been 1 year since the campaign to save Truslove House on Central Hill Estate took shape in its current form. And since then, even in that 1 year, the awareness has grown locally and nationally of how destructive and costly regeneration truly is. Lambeth Council is increasingly out of touch. I challenge the council that the wholesale demolition not only does not alleviate the housing crisis, but actually contributes to it, as well as pushing the council to the brink of bankruptcy. As more people become aware of the true nature of the lack of repairs and empty homes, the global environmental impact of these developments and the decimation of local biodiversity, the coercive behaviour of the council towards residents and the massive disruption that this will cause in the area, as well as the huge financial hole that the council taxpayers are subsidising, and of the little, if any, community benefits of this long drawn-out process, calls will only get louder to end this meaningless practice of estate demolitions. The solution is quite simple. The Retrofit campaign by the Architects Journal calls to reuse and retrofit buildings as a priority, with demolition being the absolute last option. This will be fairer, cheaper, less environmentally damaging, quicker, and cost a fraction of the 1.75 billion that Lambeth Council have budgeted for across the 6 estates facing demolition and the small sites. This is a growing voice in the architectural and developers world. 2 architects won an internationally renowned award for not knocking down a single building, and only last month, off the back of COP26, a planning application was rejected in central London because of the amount of embodied carbon released in its construction. The environmental crisis means that demolition and rebuild is no longer sustainably, and politically money is now available to retrofit. Nor will this model ever produce enough additional affordable housing to reduce the housing crisis. This could be found cheaper and more efficiently by other means. Each of you here have a collective duty and an individual responsibility for what you are accountable to, for which you are accountable for to your electorate and future generations to make the right decision. Homes for Lambeth, in its business plan, memorandum of understanding, on social media and in publications, states that they are building homes for the homeless on the waiting list and for Lambeth Council families. However, by their own calculations, they are planning to build over 2,000 full market value properties. The highest proportion of the additional housing, which are neither affordable or social. This housing crisis is about affordability and not a lack of housing, something the 2,000 potential investment homes will do little to alleviate. Not only are these way out of the reach of probably all non-home-owning households of Lambeth, as is increasingly affordable housing, but they can be sold in mass quantities as there is no restriction to the number sold to one buyer. This is leaving these properties wide open to be bought for speculation, to be used for Airbnb, left empty, or for full market value rent. Once again, this is too expensive for the local people you purport to be helping, the homeless or local families. My first question is, are there any checks and securities that these homes being sold for open market will be for Lambeth families, that Homes for Lambeth claim they are benefiting? The Lambeth estates that face demolition are public land, that through the classification of brownfield land, despite having a thriving community of residents, have been blacklisted by mortgage companies. This means that the only people homeowners can sell their home to is Lambeth, who have been buying up properties using debt from the general fund, often at deflated prices. Some of these properties are then rented out, but many are left empty, thus removing the cheapest housing in the area and exacerbating the shortage of housing. It is also a false economy to give Band A status to secure tenants to move off the estate through the bidding system above those who have health issues, overcrowding and repair needs elsewhere in the borough. As landlord, Lambeth, you are awful, and as builders, you are not trusted. Even though secure and temporary tenants pay hundreds of thousands of pounds in rent into the housing revenue account, tenants are being
30 seconds.
being forced to move out because repairs are not getting done, taking up badly needed council homes somewhere else. One family was forced to move out recently because the council refused to repair their home. It now stands empty, whilst another woman was simply told to move because they were going to demolish her home, only to find it rented out to temporary tenants a year later. Money, however, is found from the housing revenue account to prop up demolition.
And it's 9.
Thank you very much.
That's all right. Thank you, Sabine. Can you please remain where you are while Councillor Matthew Bennett responds? Councillor Bennett, you have 3 minutes.
Thanks very much, Madam Mayor, and good evening. Sabine, this is a conversation we've been having for about 7 or 8 years, and in that we've probably heard exactly what each other has to say both ways round, but for everybody else's benefit, we just simply disagree. We are in a situation where, because of a Conservative government cutting over £100 million from our refurbishment budget, there is not enough money to refurbish every single home in the borough, and that is in spite of us borrowing as much as we can to fund £500 million of investment through the Lambeth housing standard. We were also honest about the challenge that faced when we were aware of the shortfall of money. That's why we had a housing commission with tenants and leaseholders to look at the problem. It was that commission that proposed regeneration. On Central Hill, we spent 2 years working through every single option: refurbishment, infill, partial rebuilding, full rebuilding, and accepting submissions from outside, including one from Architects for Social Housing. That was a consultation, at the end of which we had an independent consultation that 2/3 of residents took part in, which very clearly had the result of a clear majority of tenants on the estate, 55%.
Councillor Bennett, thank you.
Thanks very much, Madam Mayor. In favour of rebuilding, and just 1/3 of tenants saying that they were opposed. And one of the things that stuck out throughout that entire consultation was the way that tenants' voices quite often were not heard. So rather than hearing more from me, I think it's important to hear directly from that consultation from a tenant on Central Hill. And I'll quote directly: "I'm a tenant whose house is falling apart. I have damp coming up through the bedroom floors because the pipes under my house are broken. Raw sewage is making the walls in the basement damp. There is damp on my ceilings due to flat roofs. As far as I'm concerned, they need to rebuild the estate. I've lived here for 30 years and feel the estate is at the end of its life. As a tenant, I feel that tenants get shouted down by leaseholders at meetings, and it's why more of us don't go. The best thing that could happen is that the estate is rebuilt. I want to move as soon as I can." That's why we've already started with homes at Truslove House, which you've been active in campaigning against, which for everyone's benefit is an empty 7-room hostel. An empty 7-room hostel. Not 7 homes, 7 rooms, which is being replaced.
You have to wait for Councillor Bennett to finish. Can you please let him finish? And Councillor Briggs. I am listening to Councillor Bennett.
Thank you. Which is those 7 rooms are being replaced with 31 affordable homes, not private, 100% affordable, 22 council homes. There's a 74%, thank you very much, Madam Mayor, a 74% reduction in carbon emissions and improvement in biodiversity. When homes do have to be built privately for sale to fund new council homes, because we don't have money from the government to do it, we have already said and put in place they will be prioritised first and foremost for Lambeth residents. And where homes are being bought back from leaseholders who want to move, those are being used to help house some of the 3,000 homeless families in the borough, to keep them in the borough, close to their families and close to home. We will continue to work with our residents. We will listen to our tenants who want their homes rebuilt, and we will build more homes for homeless families in Lambeth.
Can you just please remain where you are at the moment? I just want to remind everybody in this meeting, especially as we remember David Amis today, to be respectful and listen to people without comment. Let the meeting run in the way an orderly manner it's supposed to. But thank you.